Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, yai da dai da dai dai bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos, Cantor, Rabbi, and to all of our community who's with us on this Shabbat Hagadol. Shabbat Hagadol is the Shabbat preceding Pesach. And of course, in just 24 hours, as the sun will set, we'll gather together in our Passover Seders. We'll talk about that in a moment. But for now, it's time to be a community, to come all of us together, as we love to do in the chat on YouTube or on Facebook Live. Tell us you're here. Greet one another. See who's with us and give them a Shabbat Shalom. Create our community per se in this unique way that we've been doing for a year, and creating that sense of togetherness even when we're looking at computers and televisions and screens, but still feeling the warmth of Shir Shalom, feeling the warmth of togetherness and how important that is. Tonight's a Kaya service, which means come as you are. It's casual, it's meditative, it's reflective, it's breathing. So if you want to follow formally with prayers in the prayer book, you can download them on our website. You can access it there, and you can enjoy it in the prayer book or just by closing your eyes and meditating. As I said, it is Shabbat Hagadol, which means the great Sabbath. And the idea was this last Shabbat of the year, in a sense, as we get ready for Pesach, is the end of our winter, the end of our slavery, the coming to our freedom, the coming to our redemption, the coming to our promise, the coming to our hope. And of course, our tradition aligned that with Eliyahu Hanavi, with Elijah, the prophet, who would bring the promise of redemption, who would remind us of that and visit us at each of our Seders. So as we prepare, as we think of that hope for a moment, let's just close our eyes. Let's breathe in, soak in this moment together.
Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hanavi.
There was one year when the Kotzker Rebbe, one of the early rabbis of the Hasidic tradition, had promised all of his Hasidim, all his students, that Eliyahu Hanavi was going to be revealed that year at the Seder. On the first night of Passover, the Rebbe's whole house was just packed with people. Obviously, it wasn't a pandemic year. The air was electric with anticipation. Everybody was so excited because Eliyahu, Elijah the prophet, was going to be joining them, was going to come that year. And I knew what that would mean. Came time to open up the door, and they opened the door, and nothing. Nobody was on the other side. All the Hasidim, his students, the Kotzker students, they were crushed, just crushed. They were wrecked, and they looked at their Rebbe, and they said to him, "But you promised us. You promised that Eliyahu, that he was going to come." He looked at them. His face was radiating joy. And he said, all of you, did you think that Eliyahu was going to come through the door? Eliyahu is only ever going to come in through our hearts. Every year, when Pesach comes, we sit at our Seder, we welcome Eliyahu, we open the door. Mystery of mysteries. The tradition tells us that Elijah comes through our hearts because it is the promise of hope, the holding on to hope of a better tomorrow. The idea that what we experience can even be better in the future. And we long for that while we relish what we have right now. And we are in a time when we need hope more than ever. Yes, there is light at the end of this tunnel with more and more of us being vaccinated, restrictions being lifted, opportunities to be together, but still there are those who are sick. There are those who are recently diagnosed with COVID. There's still a pandemic. But more than that, we see our world wrecked with violence. This past week in Boulder, Colorado, the week before that in Atlanta and Georgia. Hate crimes, crimes of violence, crimes with weapons that we shouldn't have access to. And we wonder why. We wonder what it's all about. But as our tradition tells us, we're never allowed to let go of hope because we know that tomorrow can be better and we can work towards that. We don't sit idly waiting. We work by talking about it. We work by praying for it. We work by actively doing things that can help make our world better. And that's our responsibility. That's where we bring Elijah into our world. That's where we hope for that promise of the future, that opportunity that is there. And at the same time, making this moment a blessing as well. The rabbis of old tell us that if you want to have a foretaste of the world to come, it is to be experienced on Shabbat. So this Shabbat Hagadol, is one, even in the midst of challenges, where we embrace hope and we see the blessings that are here with us right now. So breathe in deep. Breathe in God's gift to each and every one of us. And breathe out that gift that we can bring to our world. Continue that breath with our prayers, that breath with our hope, that breath with the promise that Elijah will come to our hearts.
Eliyahu
we join together now with our prayers, with the call to worship our Baruch Hu. If you'd like to rise, you can do so.
בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Started our service with story about Elijah the prophet. And I want to share one of my favorite stories of Elijah the prophet as well, because the tradition is that Elijah was often coming to us in costume, dressed up to test our world so that people wouldn't recognize who Elijah was, or wouldn't recognize him, so that they would treat him differently than if he wasn't Elijah. And his job was to see if our world was ready for Messiah or a messianic age or a perfect time to come about. And that was the idea of Elijah and his coming and checking things. And the story that I always loved about Elijah that is connected to Passover is that there was a time that he came to check and see if we were ready for that more perfect world. And Elijah dressed up as a beggar, and he went and knocked on the door of a home. Somebody opened the door, and Elijah asked if they had a place at their Seder for him. And they looked at him, torn clothes, a little bit smelly, and said, "Sorry, our Seder is full tonight." So Elijah said thank you and wished them a Chag Sameach and was on his way. Elijah then got dressed up in the finest suits, nice and clean, combed his hair, went back to that same door, knocked on the door, said, "I happen to be in town. Do you happen to have another seat?" They said, "Of course," noticing his clothes and how fine he looked. And they welcomed him into their Seder and gave him a seat at the table. Well, they went through the Haggadah. They told the stories. They said the blessings. The time came for the meal. And as the meal was served, Elijah cut the brisket and put it into the suit jacket pocket. He took a piece of the charoset on the matzah and he put it inside of the pocket on the other side of his jacket. He took some gefilte fish and he stuffed it inside of his pockets. He said, "That's delicious. Can I have some more?" All this time, the people noticing what he was doing, that he wasn't actually eating it, but he was putting it inside of his clothes. So curious, they asked him, "Why is it that you are stuffing your clothes with the food as opposed to eating it?" And Elijah said, "Well, when I came to the door first dressed as a beggar, you didn't welcome me in. But as I came in fine clothes, you did. So it must be the clothes that you wanted to feed, that you welcome into your Seder, as opposed to me, the individual." With that, the family understood what he was saying, understood that he was Elijah and that they had missed that opportunity to bring about that redemption, that more perfect world. But that story ties into this next prayer that we sing, the words of the Hashkivenu. Because in this prayer, we ask that God spread over us a Sukkot Shlomecha, a shelter of peace. And it's a reminder for us of what we want to create in our own homes, the values that we have, how we treat our family, how we treat our friends, what we do out in our world as well. It's an opportunity for us to think about the homes that we want to create. So I invite you to close your eyes just for a moment, to focus on your breathing, to breathe in, inhaling through your nose, and to breathe out, exhaling through your mouth. As you continue to breathe, close your eyes just for a moment so that you can look within. Continue to focus on your breathing. Breathe in, breathing in God's gift to us, and breathe out, sharing your gift with the world. As you continue to focus on your breathing, picture in your mind your Sukkot Shlomecha, your shelter of peace, your home. Picture what it looks like now. What are the values that you hope exist within it? The ethics, the traditions. What are those things that are important to you? And as you think about those qualities, picture somebody coming and knocking on your door, having the opportunity to peek inside, What would they see if they came into your house? If they entered your home? And is what they would see the same thing as you picture in your mind? Hashkivenu is a prayer that asks that God help us make that picture in our mind, what we hope for, our desires, our wishes, that God partner with us in creating those so that it is what one would see when they enter into our homes. And so we join together in those words of the Hashkivenu, asking God to protect us, watch over us, and help us create that Sukkot Shlomecha, that shelter of peace.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Shalom, V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Shalom, V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha, L'chaim u'shalom, me'ata v'yad olam. Guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms. Guide my steps. Guide my steps. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Shalom, V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Shalom, V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. U'shmor tzeiteinu, u'voeinu, l'chaim u'shalom, me'ata v'yad olam, me'ata v'yad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Shalom, V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Shalom, V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim.
And in preparation for the Amidah, we take a moment now for our own private meditations, our own opportunities to connect with God, with ourselves, as we look within and take this moment for private prayer. Please pray silently.
Im Adonai, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Vegoali, Vegoali. Adonai, Sefatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei Avoteinu ve'Imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, ve'Elohei Rachel. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'Koneh HaKol, Ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot ve'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah, Rav lehoshia. Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umkayem emunato, Lishenei afar. Michamo chabal gevurot, u'mido melach, melech memit u'mechayeh, u'matzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah lahachayot ha'akol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Beyond our own private prayers, do we turn now as a community to think of those friends and family who are in need of healing, who are in need of a refuah shlema? And as we think of them, we hope that just as our tradition has given us strength for thousands of years, that we continue to look within and find strength for us, our loved ones, our community who are stricken with anxiety and illness. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov, v'imotenu Sar Rivka, Leah v'Rachel, hu yavarech et acholim. Merciful God, who blessed our ancestors, send your blessings to our loved ones who are stricken with illness and anxiety. To Gail Beck, Larry Burke, Grace Geraldine Carafelli, Karen Kasman, Margaret Kosha, Lindsay Cooper, Molly Cotons, Barbara Essrig, Barb Flair, Sandy Flair, Karen Garassi, Kathy Gilman, Joseph Goldring, Lola Goldring, Sandy Gorash, Batya Batbeshia Panina, Susan Greenberg, Charles Gross, Sherry Gutter, Susan Gorelnick, Hank Heiser, Helen Indiana, Jane Jacobs, Bruce Kay, Paulette Coffrin, Serafina Coffrin, Marta Lazar, Henry Leopold, Charlene Lizelle, Josh Lubick, Michael Malley, Zoe Marcus, Beth Margolin, Joyce Meza, Perry Moss, Lori Moss, Scott Miles, Kate Negron, Rabbi Robert Nosenchuk, Razel Bat Leah Miriam, Hannah Molesky, Marjorie Pensine, Tamara Pesakoff, Melanie Pohl, James Raftery, Arthur Reish, Joanne Reed, Raymond Reif, Alan Rosen, the Saint Amand family, the Shepherdly family, Amy Selmanoff, Danny Shepard, Myron Schrenkel, Arnold Slutsky, Barbara Storm, Mark Wagoner, Judy Wayne, Skylie Weingarten, Sarah Botfega, Helene Wolf, all those battling the coronavirus both at home and in the hospital, the 53,000 American troops who have been injured in Iraq and Afghanistan to date, as well as all the names in our hearts. May God grant them a refuah shlema, complete healing of mind, of body, and of spirit.
May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
In addition to our prayers for healing, we ask that God's partners in healing and those whose work allows our needs for survival to be met, may they also be blessed. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, bless all those who put themselves at risk to care for the sick. Bless those who continue to go above and beyond, everyone who puts the needs of others above their own. And bless those who navigate the unfolding dangers of the world each day, tending to those they have sworn to help. Bless them in their coming home and bless them in their going out. Ease their fear, sustain them. Source of all breath, healer of all beings, protect them and restore their hope. Strengthen them that they may bring strength. Keep them in health that they may bring health. Help them know again a time when they can breathe without fear. Bless the sacred work of their hands, and may this plague pass from among us speedily and in our days. As together we say, Amen.
Amen.
We join together in our concluding prayers, the words of the Oleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך
that day the Lord shall be one and God's name will be one. The words Cantor sang, the prayer is about bringing our world together. And as we were just singing that, I was thinking of on that day, the idea of us being together as a community, physically coming together as one, especially with words of Kaddish and times memorial. For if there ever is a time we want to be with another, is in the midst of mourning, to hold each other, to support each other. And the missing of that in these times, the challenges, is what makes this so difficult. Yet, the idea, even alone on a computer screen, we're able to create a sense of community, a sense of togetherness, a minyan to say Kaddish, to help support each other, to honor, to make sure that people know that we remember those who have gone before us, and we support each other in that. One of the most important things we can do by saying these words together, whether we're a mourner or not, but letting mourners know they are not alone, even in this time. And that's a statement of our faith. And that's what saying Kaddish is. And so at this time, we think of those who've been taken from our midst in this past week and month, friends and family of our congregation, Marilyn Rowans, Deborah Rose Campaign, Sanders Hertzberg, Sally Bailey, Al Cassell, Gary Fishman, Mona Rosenbaum, Irving Cohen, Francisco Leva, Ian Cascade, Edja Zakalik, Gloria Siegel Stolier, Ilo Seidman, Daryl Bressick, Nisi Conroy, John Goldstein, for those who departed this year, Fanny Zuckerman, the 7,038 Americans of our armed forces been killed in Iraq, Afghanistan, and the surrounding areas to date, those 18 precious lives who lost to hatred and gun violence in Atlanta, Georgia, and Boulder, Colorado. The 630 Americans who have lost their lives to the coronavirus. And linking their names to the names of yort sites we mark on the Shabbat, those anniversary of passing we lovingly commemorate. Emmanuel Adelson, Sarah Adelson Rotman, Stuart Allen, Jack Bacalar, Mary Jean Blau, Meyer Cantor, Kathleen Camille, Estelle Delinka, Rosa Ernstein, Shirley Felsenfeld, Baby Finder, Jerry Finn, Bernice Friedman, Gershon Garbiel, Frances Irene Goldberg, Jean Gorman, Dorothy Green, Antel Gruber, Rose Heiser, Lillian Hollander, Freda Ingber, Sarah Jane Jackson, Sam Katz, Samuel Koppel, Donald Kornspan, Jan Landsberg, Phyllis Lenhoff, Bess Zachs Lenser, George Victor Lesser, Sarah Levy, Tilly Linden, Robert Moskowitz, Phil Moss, Richard Nadler, Judy Narens, Larry Needleman, George Panzer, Jose Polk, Shirley Pollock, Kay Roshti, Burton Risman, Shoshana Raval, L. Roxine Rogers, Lorraine Rowan, Tilly Saquin Nussbaum, Mary Frances Sorrow, John Shepard, Beverly Siegel, Selma Winston, Ida Zichholz, Albert Ziff, Harvey Richard Zipkin. And linking their names to the names we do not recite in the Shabbat. Those are every faith, every family whose lives have touched ours. So do we stand together as one community, as one family, and joining the immortal words of the mourner's Kaddish. Yikadal, v'yikadash shemei rabbah, v'yamad divrach chirete v'yamich malchute, v'chayachon, v'yomechon, v'chayedecho beit Yisrael. Bagala u'izman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mavarach ha'olam momea maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'nadar v'nalev v'nadal, shemei l'kudusha rechu. Le'elamin kol birchata b'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, taram b'yama v'imru, amen. Yehei shomo rav amin shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Yiseh shalom v'ramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru, amen. The source of peace and peace to those who mourn, comfort to those who are bereaved here and everywhere. And let us say, Amen.
Amen. Oh, say shalom librama. Oh, yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ve'imru, imru, amen. La 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Good Shabbos, everyone.
Good Shabbos. So nice to be together and to get ourselves ready in that Pesach spirit. If you want to throw a quick question up on our chat on YouTube, we'll be happy to try to answer that for Tish. Of course, there are some things we want to share with you. Yes, there's Tish tomorrow morning at 9:15 and Minyan, and our service at 10:30, and Minyan at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning. Our community Shir Shalom Seder is Sunday evening at 6 p.m. If you've registered, great, you've gotten the link. If you haven't and you want to, you can still do so through the website, and you'll get a link that way as well. Do us a favor. For those enjoying a Seder, whether it's tomorrow night or Sunday night, send us a picture of your Seder, however you do it, on Zoom, whatever, and send it to whether one of us or to Audrey at Shir Shalom, as we like to document these things and see how beautiful it is together, especially those joining in our community Seder. It's great to see how we're doing it through technology. And a shout out to Audrey, who's behind the scenes, managing our service tonight as well. So thank you, Audrey Bloomberg, who helps us at Temple every single day. So our community Seder Sunday, Monday morning musings at 9 o'clock. My guest, very relevant time, because today a new Detroit publication was released that is called New Detroit. New ? Detroit. A new publication of interesting ideas, the freedom of us all to share our beliefs and thoughts there. And Ben Falick is one of the individuals who has helped put that together. Ben started things like Summer in the City. He was the first executive director of Repair the World Detroit, very involved social activist in our community. He'll be my guest on Monday at Monday Morning Musings, talking about why he started this publication and the hope for what it's going to be doing. And he's been working with Mark Jacobs and Ellen Lipton and some really great people to make this come to life. So excited to see that happen. And you can find it on New Detroit and check it out online. Really cool publication. Other things to announce. It's a quieter week because of Pesach at Temple, but Rabbi, anything else I got to share?
I'll just share some things coming up after Pesach as well. One, next week is our Yizkor, actually before the end of Pesach, the last day of Pesach. Our Yizkor memorial service is going to be 7:30 p.m. next Friday night. And so anybody that is remembering somebody, just want to make sure that you're aware of that. And then
7:30 service.
7:30 service. And then following Pesach, we have a number of events that are going to be happening throughout the month of April that are connected to Israel, a number of them. One of them is on April 6th. We have, for those of you who have been a part of the Live from Israel series, Benny Levin and the Master Chef Benny Ben Israel in Israel are going to be joining us and taking us on a tour of some of the outdoor markets in Israel, while also doing a demo of different foods that we can prepare, from tahina to a rice, and some other delicious meals to be able to enjoy as well. So it should be a fun program. It's a lunch and learn. So it's 12 o'clock on April 6th. The other thing to be aware of is our community is doing a number of different celebrations for Yom HaShoah, for Holocaust Remembrance Day. for Israel Independence Day, Israel Yom HaAtzmaut, and for Israel's Memorial Day, Yom HaZikaron. So we'll have information about that posted next week of some of those programs and different things that you can participate in if you want to be a part of that series of what's known as the Yoms, the days.
Okay. Question about Passover from Paul at Coffrin. The roasted egg on a Seder plate, do you roast it in the shell or out of the shell? And the roasted egg is a link to the roasted sacrifice that used to occur at the temple, because we don't offer a sacrifice anymore in that way. There's not law how an egg is roasted. So I've seen people do it both ways, actually. More typically, it is roasted in the shell, though, but that's not a law. It's just the idea of roasting an egg. Would you agree with me, Rabbi?
I would, because it's really hard to just roast the egg once you've taken it out of the shell. So make sure you hard boil it first.
What's a favorite Passover tradition of us rabbis? I love always one new traditions that come to light that bring laughter. I love the joy around the table. And so one that everyone can jump in is Dayenu, singing Dayenu, and the excitement around Dayenu always brings me joy. And then all the foods, including the Passover candies, the gel slices. Like we sometimes send those to our college kids, and Rabbi will have individual wrapped ones that he's purchased to send, and he finds we're always missing enough at the end because I've gone into his office and eaten them. So yikes. But Dayenu, I'd say. Rabbi, yours?
Searching for the afikomen. Always a fun activity, and whenever we do it at home or when we've done it at temple for the second night Seder, and the kids run into the social hall or the sanctuary looking for pieces of the matzah is always fun. But I'll share that we're also this year going to be doing, because our Seder is going to be on Zoom the first night as well, we're going to be playing a game of photo roulette, which is a lot of fun. And so it'll be one of my favorite traditions, I have a feeling, because we've asked everybody that's coming to the Seder to submit 3 photos, one about freedom, one about slavery, and one about hope. And we'll post those pictures up for people to see, and they have to guess, and we'll use the poll function on Zoom, which family sent in that photo for the different themes. So it should be just a fun way to engage and talk about some of the topics of Passover at the Seder in a different and hopefully creative, fun way.
Excellent. I like that. I also like the 4 glasses of wine. Speaking of which, although I said my Kiddush earlier, we can join in the sweetness of this day of Shabbat as we join with Cantor.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim.
Well, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning or Sunday evening. Again, it's not too late. If you want to register and be part of our Seder, please let us know. We'll help get you that link.
Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you. May God protect you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God shine upon you. May God shine through you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
God, always be a part of who we are as individuals, as a community. Most of all, blessing us with shalom, with peace in our heart, in our minds, and the opportunity to bring more peace into our world.
V'yasem lecha